Now let's talk about growing your newsletter list. So, once this is kind of something that you would probably do before you start running those. So this is a little bit out of order, but once you have at least an automated newsletter going out, so you don't have to worry about it each week, you've kind of got that process in place. Then it's just about growing that audience and getting more people to sign up for and opt in for those emails. So we're going to talk about 5 primary tactics that we've seen with our customers. The first, simple sign up form on the homepage. So important the way this is set up. And I do want to ask right now, let's have a quick poll. I'll get this out there now so we can get our answers while I'm describing this. How many of you have a free newsletter sign up right on your homepage, either on the right column here or somewhere on the homepage? So that's easy to, okay. Melissa says they do have that. Okay, good. I think it's important to have it on the homepage and not just have a button that says sign up to our newsletter that goes somewhere else. Let's have the form right there so they can just put their name and email right there. Okay. Now, with these forms, one thing you want to double check and make sure that you have as part of the system is a double opt-in. Okay. This is something that you can set up a newsletter without. So it's important to make sure that I think MailChimp automatically offers this, but other systems, you don't necessarily need a double opt-in. And just to be clear, a double opt-in is basically a 2-step process. They would opt in first by putting their email in and saying subscribe and checking this box saying I accept terms of service and so on. And then the second opt-in is when they receive an email confirmation that they actually have to open and click a link. So they are not actually subscribed to the newsletter until they do that second. And that's an important thing. So there's a couple things you want to pay attention to. First of all, you want the user experience to be very clear. So after they put their name and email in, then you want it to go to a page, confirmation page that says, check your email right now. You are not subscribed until you click on the link in that email. Mention check your spam folder, because that first email could end up in the spam and then they'll never hear from you unless they find it and opt in. Also, another thing to avoid the spam folder that we've seen a lot of success with is including the first name. So, it's always a balancing act with getting people to sign up for anything. And, you might have people that say, you want as little fields as possible. So let's just ask for the email. And I think that part of that is true. You don't want to ask for their address and, all this personal information. Even though that could be useful for marketing, we really just want to get their email and their first name, because then with most newsletter systems, you can have the first name associated with the email and then automatically pull in the first name field into your template each week. So then it's directly addressing the newsletter to them. It'd be like, hi, Susan, check out this week's top headlines from the paper. And then you would have your list of teasers. If you have the person's name in the email, it's just a thing about, with dealing with different email clients. They're going to have all these different rules for putting you in spam or putting you, like we all know, Gmail has all these different folders now. They might put you in the promotions tab to avoid getting there and staying in the primary inbox. These are 2 things that you want to do: the double opt-in and the first name included in the. Okay, so let's move on to the second way to grow your newsletter list is a pop-up form. Now, how many of you have a pop-up form somewhere on your website? Could be on the home page, could be on the internal pages. I'm just curious where you all are with that. Now, the way these things work, for those of you that don't know, they usually pop up and then they place a cookie on the user's browser, so they're not too annoying. No one really likes pop-ups, but sometimes they are necessary. And if you can do them in a tasteful way, so they certainly don't pop up every time you go to the website or every article you look at. But we do want to offer it to them. Just, if they do X out, then don't show it to them for probably another 30 days time frame. Or maybe you never show it to them again. But these are all options with these. And, that can be an effective way. If for whatever reason they didn't see it on your homepage, this is just a little bit more in your face and can be more effective. So Gretchen is saying no. And I'm guessing that's just, is that a strategic decision or is it a technical issue. You can't technically have that, or you don't like those pop-up. I'm curious what you're definitely, these, not all these things are for everyone. This is a pretty straightforward idea. Okay, just haven't done it. This third idea I like. Now let's do a quick poll here for anyone that's listening. What kind of a paywall do you guys have on your website? Does anyone have a free website here? Do you have a metered paywall? Do you have a hard paywall? Let's just get a sense of where everyone is with this. Okay, and so Gretchen says about the pop-up, she just hasn't thought of it. Need to explore if we have the technical capability. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think it's something that once you know that it's possible, you definitely want to think about the user experience and do it. Okay, so Gretchen, you have a metered paywall. The difference between a metered and a hard paywall is a metered, the user gets to choose 2 or 3 stories to read each month for free. A hard paywall, they can't read anything without logging in. Okay, so the metered allows them to not pay for a subscription, but still get some free content. Okay, great. So we got a nice variety here. Susan has a free website, no paywall, and Melissa has a hard paywall. So I'd pose this to you, Susan, just to get your feedback, because we work with a lot of papers and some of them are free in print. And so their digital model is, for a long time, they had it totally open and free access, but they're starting to see the value in something like this. If you're not going to charge for your content, because remember, when you have a paid paywall, digital subscription, then you're going to get their email when they sign up for it. But this is a way to get email even without them paying. If you have just a registration wall, then you just ask the users, look, one time I need you to give me your email, just sign in one time, create a password, and then you get unlimited free content. Free, it's still a free website, but at least you get their email. And then you have this method of communication with them outside of Facebook and all the other platforms. So I'd be curious, like Susan, if that would be of interest to you. It does create a small barrier to very casual traffic. If you have someone that's coming in from a Google link that never looks at your site and probably will never come back, they may not sign up for a free, but your core audience will, and then you have their email. And the other thing I like to point out with this is it's a great way to step into a paid model. We actually had a recent webinar, 2 publishers that have free print newspapers that launched paywalls on their, so they didn't stop at the registration wall. They went all the way to a metered paywall. And I thought it was really interesting talking to them. You can check it out on editorandpublisher.com or just shoot me an email and I'll send you a link to it. What they did is they stepped into the paid model by first launching a registration wall, required people to sign up for a free account to read unlimited stories. Then they got all these emails into their system, and then they turned on the paywall. And so now they can market to that list of emails that were interested enough to sign up for a free account, but maybe they haven't. Okay, so does anyone, we've already heard from Susan, Melissa, and Gretchen, who have been talking the most, which I really appreciate. Is there anyone else on the call that has some type of a metered registration wall to just collect emails and get to know a little bit more about your, because otherwise, it's just a totally open website. You really don't know anything about your reader. I think that has some downside. So I'm just going to quickly actually bring up this link. This was a really, okay. And so Gretchen says, you don't have, but moving to a dynamic paywall, and I believe that there will be the case when we make this. Okay, so now just to get back on track with this case study here, this is one of the papers that we interviewed in that editor and publisher webinar, the Acorn. So this is a really interesting thing, and so like we can always learn from history. When things got really bad with the shutdown last year, a lot of papers took down their paper, right? And, obviously I hope that never happens again. But if for whatever reason you want to take down the paywall, there's some, national issue, or, you just want to try taking down the paywall just to see what the traffic would be there. I would try just keep at least the registration wall in place. Don't open it up entirely, because then that allows you to collect these emails. And the Acorn collected 4,700 emails during the early period of the shutdown when they were talking about coronavirus a lot, and they wanted all that content to be free. They just asked users to take a second to sign up for, and they have since put up the paywall again and successfully converted 236 of those people to a paid account. And the first account that they ever had with this paper's website was the free account. So they were not a subscriber before, but getting your foot in the door with the free account during that intro period, got generated enough interest to convert them to it. Okay. Now, I think this is the fourth tactic for growing your newsletter list: extended meter view. So earlier we heard from Gretchen, who has a metered paywall. So I'm curious, Gretchen, do you have anything like this? Because this idea came from a publisher we work with in New York. And what he wanted to see was an opportunity to gather emails for a newsletter that he's very focused on growing through the metered paywall. So the way this works is you've got the normal meter activity. The way it behaves is it starts with, I think they have 4 free articles a month, and it counts down as people that are not logged in are using the website and clicking on different articles. It's tracking them and it's showing them a count, so you have 1 free article left. It's letting them know ahead of time. But then once they've used that last article, they hit the paywall, and this is what it looks like. So it's asking them to log in. But it's also giving them this other option to provide an email and get an additional 6. So this is a way to kind of combine the registration wall with a metered that you might already have on, so something along these lines is, it's just kind of a neat freemium model where, it's free, but they do have to give you something for the extra. Okay. So again, anyone on the call, I'm just curious if this is something that you're using or that you've considered using with your metered paywall. Okay. So I think this is the last tactic for growing your newsletter list, which is category specific newsletter. Okay. Earlier, one of the most impressive newsletters that I saw was, I really liked what Susan is doing in Delaware. So you have several newsletters going out week with local news and current events. I'm curious, do you have different category specific newsletter, or is it just one newsletter that everyone's, because we have seen some people have a lot of success with this, the sports newsletter, or really whatever your market demands. You can just go to your statistics and you should be able to look up what is the most popular category on my web. And that's often sports, obits, and local news. So, you could do an obit newsletter. I think a lot of people gravitate towards sports first. That's usually something that they will focus on. And then with our system, which is integrated with the website, you can just choose the category all within the newsletter. But if you're using a third party with an RSS feed, then you would just have to tailor the RSS feed to only send this. So this is totally doable by topic or category. And then you just make sure that you get all the articles that you want in this newsletter into that category. You can set it up for any type of. Okay. And so Susan is saying that, a follow up on my question, are you doing anything like this? Yes, people can sign up and tell us what kind of news they want to read. For example, they select a specific town in our coverage area and get news related to that town. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if you're covering a large area, we have some publishers that are, let me jump out of this for a second. Nordak Publishing. This is a multi-publication website. They've got 4 papers on one site. So they come in here and they can choose which paper they want to subscribe to. So they don't have the category specific, but they do, have this publication and regionals. So really quick, Susan, Coastal Point newspaper. I'd love to look at your site and let's take a look at how you're doing this, because specific town in our coverage area. So could you possibly direct me? I'm going to look right now, see if I can find it. Where is the newsletter sign up? Let's see how quickly I can find it on the homepage, because I think you did say it is on the homepage. A little bit on the fly here, so it may take me a second. Let me just start again. I'm not seeing it right. It's okay, Point Mail. Okay, so at the very bottom, Point Mail sign up. Okay, so this is a great thing to talk about. I want to emphasize this. I think it's great that you've got this newsletter. You yourself said it's at the very bottom, and how many people are actually getting to the bottom of your site? That is a question you could maybe answer with statistics, but it's difficult to say. So, I mean, I would just say if you could get a button somewhere at the top of your site, I think you would get a lot more signups. I think what you're doing is great. The frequency that you're sending it, but I bet you would get even more signups if we had it featured higher, or if there was a way to get this sign up page, even a little sign up form right on your homepage, so they don't even need to click anywhere. You might see an increase in. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good that you're running. So yeah, this is just kind of a live demo. I thought it would be kind of fun to look at someone's specific example. So if I go to sign up here, I'm going to create a password. Okay. And then if I go to sign in, hopefully slightly longer password. It's not letting me do it. Let me just do 1 second. I'm just going to create a super long password, passwordsgenerator.net. If any of you don't use that, it's a great way to create super secure password. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. This is asking me to log in. So let me register here. Okay. So this is Susan's sign up process. So I would create a username, hopefully just work for that. I don't think I actually need to do it. Now I see the sign up page. So this is what you're talking about, right? These are your mailing list. And this is good. So you kind of give a quick explainer on what kind of content they can expect to receive. They're automatically opted in for all three. I do like that approach. You could also require them to opt in for specific things. And then you've got, I'm not a robot. That's another good way to. Okay, so I thank you very much for being a volunteer for that little demo, Susan. I think that's a great approach that you've multi. Okay, and so then this slide is just showing you what I showed you on the live site earlier. Multiple lists and then just one email. It's really quick for them to sign up for breaking news.